So in this video, we're going to talk about why so many people feel unfulfilled at work, right? At their jobs. And because you hear it all the time, you're hearing it from everyone, how much they hate their job, how much they just can't stand the fact that they got to do this for 40 years. And this is like, they feel like what they're asking themselves, like, what's the point, right? You're hearing this from anybody, whether it's you or somebody that you know. You're hearing so many people talk about how much they just can't stand the fact that they have to go work a 9-to-5 job. And they'll come up with a whole bunch of reasons, right? Like you'll hear reasons like for why they don't like the job is maybe they don't get paid enough. Their job is stressing them out. Or maybe you've heard that they say the workplace is toxic, right? We've heard that before. But even though although I think these are symptoms of the issue, I think the main reason is that people no longer feel purpose on why they're going to work, right? For example, when it comes to men, for men, like if you look back in the days when men used to work, their goal was to find a wife, buy a home, have some kids, and of course the man would provide for that family. And of course he obviously would have to work in order to do that. And I think for men, they felt purpose in doing that, being able to know that they have to go to work and provide for this family, even if they didn't like their job. Right? It wasn't about whether they liked their job or not. They knew they had to provide for a family, and that gave them purpose, right? But if you look at it now, society, it seems like less and less people are getting married. So we have a bunch of single people in society, and less people are getting married. And for a man, if the purpose was to raise a family and be able to provide for that family, if you're no longer doing that, then you're stuck. You're pretty much lost. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, if I can't find someone to build a family with, where's that where am I finding this purpose? And even though I understand that, especially for men, I don't want to say we can't use that as an excuse. Okay, especially now, like we know the situation, and I think for men, it's important to find a purpose in whatever you're doing. If you can't find a family to at the moment, you can't find a family to obviously build with, then you need to find something else in order to gain purpose, whether it's a hobby, whether it's, if you're someone that's out of shape and your purpose is to get back in shape, or maybe you're not making as much money as you want. You work towards making the amount of money that you was, whether it's building something, starting a business, you need to find purpose in what you're doing. And I think that's for a lot of men, because you're seeing it so often now. You're hearing about how guys are just staying home playing video games, not really doing anything. And that's never a good thing, right? We want men out here contributing, providing some utility in society. And if they feel like they're not going to be able to build a family with them, and they've lost all hope for that, then we need to find another way. Because even for myself, I'm single, right? And I'm married, and as I work on my business, I find purpose in that every day, right? Every time I wake up, I'm wondering how I can be better than the next day, right? How I can make my business better. I'm always trying to find a way. I'm always waking up with a little with energy, saying, all right, yesterday I did this. All right, what can I do today to make it to be better as a person? And that gives me motivation. That gives me purpose every day, and it drives me. And I think for a lot of men, they have to find something that drives them as well. And if you look towards the woman's side, we all understand that women don't value work. That's just my opinion. Like, women do not value work the same way men do, right? Of course, a lot of women, obviously, they're independent. They can provide for themselves now these days. So basically, when they work, they work to they need to make money, right? They need to make sure they can take care of themselves and get the things that they want. But that's pretty much the extent of it. I don't think they're driven as much as men are when it comes to finding purpose in our work. And you hear women all the time how much they're stressed, they're overworked, and it's gotten so bad that a lot of people, even men and women, talk about doing a 4-day work week. And me personally, like, I don't know if that would be the solution for a lot of people. I know a lot of people say we need to go to a 4-day work week and have 3 days off. I'm sure it'll release some stress, but I don't think that's going to it's going to solve the problem that people are having, right? And that problem is people want autonomy. Like, you can bring it down to 4 days a week. People will find a reason to complain about that also. Like, I've even heard people talking about bringing it down to 3 days a week, right? Get to a point where, like, just, what, let's not just work. Like, just give me money. Like, I don't want to work. Just hand me money, right? It gets to that point. And I think what people want is they want autonomy. They want the freedom to do what they want. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works, especially if you're going to work for somebody, right? You're working for somebody. That's basically, so you're basically working by, you gotta abide by their rules, right? And if you're looking for that freedom, that autonomy, then obviously the best way to do is do something for yourself. Okay, and I think it's important to find purpose in what you do, right? And when you find purpose in doing what you're doing, it doesn't really feel like work, right? There's a lot of people, the successful people that work in their businesses or doing whatever they do, and they work more than 40 hours, but it doesn't feel like work to them. And you hear that all the time. People say, love what you do, and then it never feels like work, right? And I think that's true. Like if you're working towards something I think if you're finding a way to build something of your own, oh man, it creates a lot of motivation to say, you know what, man, I can't wait till tomorrow. Like you go to bed and like, damn, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow to work on this, right? I wanna try this, and I wanna see how things work out. And you have this vision of like what you want it to be, and then and then eventually you have an idea of what your life could be if things work out. And I think when you have that type of sense of hope, it does create a little bit of motivation. I think for a lot of people, they don't have that sense. It's like going to work every day, you're doing the same thing every day. I remember even when I was working in the office, man, you know, those what they call it Sunday scaries. Like Sunday comes along, you're like, oh my God, I gotta go to work tomorrow, right? It's like you got 5 days and you trade in for 2 days, like for the weekend. It's like Saturday, you get Friday, you get off work on Friday, Saturday comes, then Sunday comes, you're like, damn, I gotta work tomorrow. And we've all felt that. And I think for a lot of people, it probably is getting to a lot of people, and I get it. Right, like you said, you want that autonomy, you want that freedom to do what you want, but unfortunately, it doesn't. That's just not the way the world works, especially if you're working for someone, because you're working their business, and they have a way they go about it. And I think for a lot of people, if you want that freedom, then obviously you have to create something of your own, and eventually you get to that point where you say, you know what, I'm going to try this. As scary as it is, you do that, because that's like the ultimate freedom. As scary as it is, that is ultimate freedom. Right, be able to be like build something of your own. Although it is, I mean, be honest with you, when you're building something of your own, you got to be prepared to not make any money for a while. And if you're someone that obviously has responsibility, you have kids, you have bills you got to pay, then obviously what the smart thing to do is like work your job, right? Do your job, and you know, obviously you continue to make your money, and then obviously when you on your free time, you're gonna have to make a lot of sacrifices, right? You're gonna have to work on something on the side, and then eventually it gets to a point where you're building whatever it is you're building is making enough money to cover your current job, and then you can eventually leave that. But for a lot of people, I mean, when it comes to being unfulfilled at work, man, I really do believe that it's the fact that people just have lost purpose for why they're working. Right? When you're working, when you go to work and you feel like there's no reason for why you're working other than to collect a paycheck, it gets to a point where it's like, all right, what's the point? Like I'm missing out on a lot of life. And a lot of people, obviously, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, that exacerbate that situation, especially with social media. You feel like you're missing out on life. But overall is the fact that you don't feel like you have purpose in what you're doing. So I think it's important to find that purpose, and whatever it is, whether it's through, obviously the goal is you probably want to raise a family, and obviously it's very difficult for a lot of people these days, especially in now situation, but you want to find some purpose in whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. Right, so guys, take care and have a good one. Later.